miracles of science and engineering it took to recover this gold.
Welcome to All Gold Everything, a podcast for people who love a pink mug and hate a disturbing Instagram story.
Y'all, stop with those disturbing Instagram stories. I'm just trying to drink my coffee and snuggle my boo.
That's right. And Sandy got us these amazing mugs this week. They are so cute. They have little eyelashes on them, which I think is just so apropos given our experiment with Lash Boost. We had like a 6-month experiment with Lash Boost.
Yes, we did.
And it was amazing.
And we pretty much experiment in all things aesthetic these days.
That's true. We're basically your aesthetic experimenters. If you have an aesthetic thing you want us to try, especially if it's for free, you should reach out to us.
And when you wear lipstick, it's lips and eyelashes.
Oh, it's so cute. It's so cute.
Yes.
And before we got on the air today, Sandy was on Instagram looking at her stories and she came across something that was like that she couldn't take her eyes off of. And so we were just talking about how that fucks up your algorithm.
Now I'm afraid.
I know, because what happens, when the Instagram story, it moves too fast, you can go backwards, right? Is it right? You tap on the left side of the screen and you can go backwards. But then if you go backwards a couple of times to re-look at the thing, then I think the algorithm thinks that you love
like that.
it.
So AI is actually working against me, or maybe it's working for me. Maybe I did love it.
Maybe
I was disturbed and I'm like, my immediate reaction is, I don't want to look at that. But maybe I do. Maybe
you do.
AI knows me better
We've got
than
a
I
story
do.
about AI. We're almost moving into the tech space with this podcast. How much I have us talking about AI. I'm just saying.
But this is an example. This is AI in action.
It's true. We have a lot of announcements at the top of the show. There's a bunch of stuff we've had going on. First off, our first announcement is that tomorrow we're going to be on K2 Afternoon Live with Trey Renee.
Shit,
at 2 o'clock.
Tomorrow.
It is tomorrow. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be talking about standards and expectations when you're dating. We're going to have a quick
Heidi,
1, 2, 3. Yes.
I did not know that was tomorrow.
Oh, I definitely thought you did. So that's okay. I'm glad we're talking about that. I put it at the very top of the note that I sent you.
I don't know. No, I don't. I know you did. And I even read it. And I still thought it was next Friday.
That is okay. It's tomorrow.
Although I have to realize, I did just realize today was Thursday. So I just hadn't made the next logical step.
Well, it's okay because you can really only
tomorrow
live
is Friday.
one day at once. So It's all right. But also it'll be great. I mean, it's nice to go on there. We're basically at home there. So we'll just take our spot on the little couch and chit chat. We're going to be talking about something we did a podcast on a couple weeks ago, maybe about a month and a half ago now. Maybe just last time, actually. I can't remember. Expectations and standards when you're dating. How do you know when they're too high? Spoiler alert.
Keep them high.
Yeah.
Like Mark says, stay high.
Stay like Mark says. It takes the edge off the coffee.
It takes the edge off the coffee. I tried to trade my seat with Mark today because he came in on a roll.
He is on a roll. He needs a microphone. At the very least, we should be doing some shouting out back and forth to him throughout the show. I had some exciting news for you. I think I added this after I sent you the notes for the show. Your favorite show, Schitt's Creek,
it's a good one,
was canceled.
I think I knew that they were done.
Yeah. And then they got nominated for a bunch of Emmy Awards. So that was exciting.
Yes.
And then they got picked up by Netflix.
Nice.
Yes, so they're coming back to TV. They'll be on Netflix. I can only imagine the creative license that they'll have when they're not on network TV and they're on Netflix.
What channel were they on?
I think they were on ABC. They were on one of the major 3.
I didn't know. Well, good for them, though,
Yeah.
because that's still, when it comes to comedians and getting a TV deal, that's still the upper echelon.
I agree.
So congratulations to them for getting that. Now you're out getting some Netflix money.
Yeah, we'll have to binge watch that. I finally caved this weekend and got a subscription to HBO Now.
Yeah.
Finally, after, I don't know what it is. This is weird. I have a weird thing about spending money in certain areas. So there's some things where I think I'm just like, oh yeah, I'll just buy this, no problem. But there's some shit that I'm like, no. And for some reason, HBO Now has been has been a block for me that I've been dying to watch stuff on HBO Now, including, but not limited to, The Amazing Gemstones and, even get back on board with Game of Thrones before it ended. And, oh my God, we watched Chernobyl, so I got a free trial for that.
The Sopranos.
I mean, I never watched a single episode of The Sopranos. There's so much binging to be done.
I'm about to start season 6A.
Yeah, 6A.
6A.
Nice. And the other thing is, so I don't know why I was a holdout forever, but I finally got a subscription to HBO now, and I started it off by watching. Well, I started by watching an episode of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, which I think is probably what tipped me in the favor of finally. I mean, we always watch that.
You got to get your news somewhere.
You do, and it's basically news.
It's
yes. More news than this is.
And it's really one of the few places you could get some truth in the media.
I think so too.
Yes.
So I often just watch Pirate Alert. I often watch John Oliver stream it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I finally decided to pay for it.
Is that pirating?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I don't know how it ends up on YouTube unless HBO maybe HBO posts it on YouTube and then I watch it on. I don't know. It doesn't seem real legal though. So anyway. That tipped the scales for me. And I started watching Succession last night on HBO. Yeah. Are you watching that?
Am I watching it? I fucking love Succession.
You do? Okay, I'm only 2 episodes in, but the reviews I read of it said I should go at least 3.
Oh, you go the whole fucking season. Yes, that's our Sunday night. We make time Sunday night to watch Succession in real time.
Okay, that's funny because I was like, who do I know that loves this show? You must have talked about it. Mm-hmm. So I started watching it and I love it because I am loving it. It's like a little slow moving at the moment. I had to turn the volume way up.
It stays pretty slow moving.
I almost started watching it with subtitles because I was like, the one guy, it's so quiet.
So what it is, did anybody watch Gilmore Girls? Mm-mm. So the thing with, it's nothing like Gilmore Girls,
right.
But it's so much like Gilmore Girls.
That's funny.
The writing is so good and so witty.
Yes.
But you gotta pay attention.
Yes.
You gotta stay focused. Like Mark would need to be high. Like coffee and weed. Coffee, then weed.
Coffee, then weed. That's Mark's Ritalin 1-2
yes.
punch.
Yeah.
I noticed that because I was trying to do some errands, trying to just like tidy up the house and I had to pause it. Well, and then I came back and I had to rewind it because I had missed something. So anyway, I'm stoked on it. I'm committing.
I cannot wait to talk about it.
I'm feeling very good that it's the first show that I selected out the gate.
I have never liked a bunch of douchebags so much in my life. I mean, and how these writers do that, they make you root for the douchiest people.
Yeah.
People in real life that you would hate. I mean, this is they're designed after the Trump family.
Yeah.
They're the 1%ers. It's about the 1%ers.
Yeah.
But for me, I end up wanting to protect them and want them to be protected, especially Roman.
Okay.
So cute.
A little Kieran Culkin.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm excited about that.
And, wait. So the first episode, I still remember. I'll never forget.
Yes.
The tall guy.
Yeah, Greg,
who got the job as the mascot. The
oh my God,
Muppet
I'm dying.
dude.
Okay, wait, we need to set this up for
disturbing.
Yeah, we
right?
need to set this up for anyone who hasn't watched Succession. It's about this rich family. It's basically like a Disney. It's basically about a family based on life of Disney. They're called the Roy. Roy is their last name, which Walt Disney's middle name was Roy. They own a bunch of theme parks and a media conglomerate. And a distant cousin of theirs gets a job at the theme park as like a goofy like character. And he gets high before his first day on the job. And then these kids start these 10-year-olds start beating the shit out of him. And then he throws up through the head. He's got the head on, the Mickey head on, and he throws up through the eyes. And then he calls his mom and he's like, because he's really down on his luck. I mean, he's close to rock bottom, it seems.
Yes.
And his mom's like, well, did you tell them who you were? And he's like, no, I didn't. And so his mom convinces him to go visit his uncle, who is the CEO chairman of this Disney conglomerate or whatever. And I have to say, he's providing the most comic relief so far because he is so fucking awkward and it's amazing.
He's good. He's special.
He is good.
And so is his little Shiv's husband, who he ends up kind of becoming the Robin to his Batman.
Oh, okay.
Just an incredible character. You cannot. I mean, these are characters you haven't seen on any other TV show. If you have, let me know. I haven't watched it. It's just good writing, good character development.
It's really good because there's a good combination of self-centeredness. The reason I love that kid Greg, right, is he's completely self-centered. His great uncle is dying of a brain hemorrhage, and all he can do is try to confirm among all of these cousins that he'd been offered a job,
right?
And he just is he offered me a job. Do you know what it would be? And he's like so self-centered and also so neurotic.
Yes.
And so insecure. And it's just like every single character has like a large part of that, then plus another angle. You know what I mean? Oh, it's so good.
So good.
So anyway, we're on fire.
I'm happy that you are watching that.
Yes.
Because I don't know anyone else who is, but Joey and I love it.
I'm excited to watch more of it. The next thing I want to move on to is that our friends Randy and Joanne, they used to do our nails. It's kind of like where our podcast dreams began.
For sure.
Because we would go get our nails done and chit chat and shoot the shit for like 2.5, 3 hours at a time, entertain everyone. It was the Sandy and Heidi show over there at Bridgeport Nails.
We got really tired though. It was exhausting.
It was exhausting to be on for that long. I'm not going to lie. Plus throw in the combination of some nail fumes and it was tough. But we love them, and they got married this weekend.
Yay!
Yay!
Congratulations!
So, they had a traditional Vietnamese tea ceremony, and they wore red and gold, and it looked amazing.
Beautiful.
It looked gorgeous. So there were like hundreds of people there, and anyway, shout out to them because they're inextricably linked to the podcast, whether they'd like to be or not.
Yes, and it's like when I saw their Instagram photo, the one they put up, it left me wanting more. It was the opposite of the story I was flipping through. This one stopped me in my tracks, but in a very different way. It was just beautiful. I was stopped in my tracks by the beauty of it all. She's so talented.
She is.
You did good, Joanne.
That's true. And they're adorable. They've been together for a really long time, and they're both, to me, they seem like a couple who are both like just their full selves.
Yeah.
And I like that. Like she's bossy and he's like,
she's bossy, distrustful, and really unloving. And
he's like, but he loves her.
And he's like, but I love you.
Yeah, it's good.
I do like that because friends, that's like real life. Real life is not what we present on Instagram. It's true. Real life is a little bit, not as amenable to mass consumption.
It's true. So they got married. That's exciting. In Newsflash, my dog is a jerk. My dog Lemon.
Lemon? I thought you were going to say Henry.
No, Henry has chilled out a lot.
I've seen a lot of not chill out of Henry, but Lemon, all I've seen is cute lab.
No, she is such a jerk. So she's almost 1 year old. 1 year old, and she started at 5:30 every morning. She barks now to get let out to go to the bathroom. And I used to let her out at 5:30 to potty, and then I'd bring her in and just feed her breakfast because I'm like, I'm only getting up once here. But now I'm like trying to be like, it would be better if she ate breakfast a little later in the morning, not at 7 a.m. So I'm trying to train her to like go out to go potty at 5:30, which is still irritating, but then to come in and just like go back to bed basically. So this morning, Jeff got up actually at 5:30 and let her out, and then she barked for the entire hour from 5:30 to 6:30. And I was like, it was a battle of wills. I was laying in our bed like, I'm not getting up to make this dog stop barking. We are having a battle of wills. She's going to have to find a way to soothe herself. There's toys out there. There's she just went to the bathroom. There's another dog out there. There's 2 dog beds. Like there's a couch. Like she's got to figure this out. So that's part of her jerkiness. And the second part of her jerkiness is that we started going to the dog park, which is awesome because she needs a lot of exercise. But she gets too excited and then she just wants to munch on Henry. So she'll just start like biting on his scruff. So that means I have to pull her off of him and take her home. But I was thinking about that because your dog has become a real dog.
He's become a real dog, and we've had 2 visits with a dog trainer, and her name is Lucia. And she's amazing, and she has taught Joey and I so much. And she's blown my mind with a couple things, dog park being one of them.
Yeah, will you give me, what's the down low on? I mean, give me the trick.
Well, it's not a trick. It's basically that dogs don't need dog parks like humans need dog parks. See, humans, we think that our dogs need to run and play and do all that. But all that does is teaches them that this is how they play. Instead of teaching them that this is how they.
Oh, okay.
So she says they, like running and playing and chasing balls has a place, but that should not be their primary form of exercise.
Oh, interesting.
Really, their primary form of exercise should be walking.
Oh, okay.
And
That's not very convenient for humans.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. And I'm not trying to walk my dog for 2 hours a day. Damn it.
You don't want to teach your dogs that they need these high highs and these low lows. And
that's interesting. Damn.
What she does, which is really cool, which I'll do if I can ever afford, but I can't right now. She does pack walks.
Oh yeah.
And that's really the best way to socialize dogs, to keep dogs learning what it looks like to be well behaved and to get exercise.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see you on that.
Yep.
My dog trainer also offers pack walks, and we've been doing that with Lemon, but I just started taking her to the dog park thinking like, oh, she needs more exercise. This is blowing my mind. Thank you.
I know.
We're talking about this.
So, but the sweetest thing is, so my dog has become a real dog, and he's catching on to the training really. It's so cute. Like, there's snapshots of little Weebay, and he looks like he's just ready to go on the AKC.
He is, especially when he wears a pair of socks. If you are listening to the show, you need to go look at Weebay's Instagram because he had socks on this week and they were too cute.
But then there's snapshots of him where he's like a fucking hot mess. So I'll have to tell you real quick, you think Lemon's an asshole. So today shit went to hell.
What happened?
In a handbasket. It was my first day off and I'm snuggling my boo.
Yeah.
My boo got up to make me my coffee.
Love it.
And Weebay wanted up on the bed because since he's been
Mark just put up a card of the dog's Instagrams.
Yeah.
Those are cute.
So since he's been a real dog, he's realized he could jump on the couches.
Yeah.
But he can't jump on the bed. And so we pick him up and we put him on the bed. But I wanted him to jump on the bed. So I was encouraging him to jump on the bed and he tried twice and he fell pretty hard and he's still not really like coordinated. And his falls were pretty hard and messy. And so I got him and I picked him up and I put him on the bed and he started like bucking Bronco and he's like, we're going to play now. And then he just stopped and peed on my bed. And it was just so crazy because he's very potty trained. Like this was literally...
Why would he do that? Dominance?
It was a meltdown. I think that he hurt himself. He got anxious.
Oh my God.
He didn't know what to do with himself. So like we literally, it went down to the mattress pad. Thank God it didn't get in the mattress. So that was my morning. So I don't want to spend the podcast telling stories about my dog, but because I started saying how well he was doing with the training, I had to tell the truth about what happened this morning.
What really happened this morning.
Yes.
I mean, it's a roller coaster. Dog ownership's a roller coaster. Let's just say that.
Just bottom line is, you can't control them.
No, I'm just ready for them to be like, Henry has really chilled out now that he has a dog of his own and also now that he's 4. And so I'm like, oh, you know what? There's some light, like there will be a like middle-agedness to these dogs where like they just chill the fuck out. So that'll be good.
Yeah.
Okay. The last thing that I need this to kind of check in on, there are 2 more things. Sorry. One is that a couple of weeks ago, Sandy and I went and got the Hollywood facial at Thrive Aesthetic. Our skin is like dewy, glowing. Your skin looks amazing today, by the way. And last week, I went back and got the second treatment. Now, I need y'all to know that I'm not... Well, I might be becoming...
You're shining.
Thank you. I might be really getting into these facials, but the reason that Sandy and I have 2 laser treatments booked is they were part of a package. So it's not just like we were all of a sudden like, laser treatments, yeah!
I can't.
I went back and I got the second one because we're going on TV tomorrow.
Yes, and she's glowing.
I mean, I am glowing. I'm a little shiny because I had some oil that I had to put on my face underneath my makeup. But I mean, I'm obsessed with this second treatment. It's called the IPL laser. It's at Thrive Aesthetic. And they do this laser treatment. And then they put a collagen mask on your face and they do a microneedling to kind of mush the mask into your pores.
I can't wait.
Okay, the microneedling itself felt very like not a big deal. Like I was pretty nervous about the intensity of it, but it just felt a little bit like having a brush on your face. But afterwards, my face was so itchy, and like all I could do was move my nose around to like because you probably shouldn't. I would just felt like I did get some specific instruction about what I should do to like how much I should touch my face, but I just felt like I wasn't gonna be able to control myself, and I didn't want to be like. So yeah. All I could do was
but that's the urge.
Yeah. So I was pretty uncomfortable for the majority of the day. Like I would not get that treatment and then like go back to work.
Yeah, I think that they told us. Did they tell us it needs like a day or 2 to recover?
Yeah. And I was pretty pink. I mean, well, and the recovery really was not the color of my face. I mean, my face was pink in the immediate aftermath, but honestly, it was the discomfort of like the needling.
Ooh,
so
I'm excited. I can't wait.
I know. So that's coming up for you.
I heart discomfort. I do.
And finally, I have to tell you guys, I'm very, very excited. I am this close to hitting the publish button on my book, Relationship Ready.
I cannot wait to read it.
I know. I'm so excited for you to read it.
I'm going to get a highlighter out.
I hope you do. I haven't given it to, I had given it to a couple of beta readers. And at the time, you and I talked about whether or not it would make sense for you to do that with your schedule.
I think I said no.
Yeah,
I felt really bad about that.
We were running. It was fine.
It's better this way, though.
Yeah, it is.
Because it feels like Christmas.
Yeah, so it's good. So I had a couple beta readers read it, and him. And then last week I ordered the proofs. So that actually happened on Saturday. And so Tuesday they arrived at my house, and that was like so surreal to like open them up. And I meant to bring one today, but I forgot.
I kind of was hoping you would.
I know, I'll bring one tomorrow
I want to touch
when we
it.
get ready.
Okay.
For K2.
I want to touch it.
Yeah. It feels incredible to touch. The finished product looks amazing. I'm so excited. The only thing that I'm bummed out is that because it's a proof, there's like a big gray bar across it that says proof. So because it's not for resale. So it's like still not quite the full experience of seeing it, but it's really incredible.
Damn close.
Yeah. So if you're listening to the show and I want to be able to let you know when that's ready, when that's available for purchase. So I need you to go to my website, HeidiBcoaching.com, and I need you to subscribe to my email list so I can send you just a couple of emails a year. One of which will be the book is coming out. Here's how you buy it. It'll be $9.95, which will not break the bank for any of you. And it will tell you all about how to get relationship ready.
And Heidi's having a party.
And I'm having a party September 30th. We're going to have a launch party. I booked a photographer. We're going to have cupcakes. Yay! It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So, all right. Now, finally, we are moving. We had a lot of stuff to catch up on, and that was great. So I'm happy we did that. We're moving into some stories, some pop culture, as it were. Sandy found this story 2 weeks ago, and I am 1,000% obsessed with it. I want this to fuck up my Facebook algorithm, my Instagram algorithm. This is Kanye's fashion line. The Yeezy line is coming out with a Croc for this spring line or whatever. And so it's clearly a Croc ripoff. This shoe. Okay, first of all, there's a couple things. So if you're not watching this, you need to watch this on YouTube. You need to go to minute 20 on the YouTube video, and you need to pull it up so you can see this picture of these Crocs that Kanye quote unquote designed, because I just feel like Kanye should have just collaborated with Crocs a la Post Malone. Frankly.
Right. Well, I think Kanye was like, fuck you, Post Malone. I can make my own damn Crocs. I mean, that's how Kanye rolls. Kanye doesn't collaborate anymore. Yeah. Kanye hasn't collaborated since that fucking Through the Wire song. He's done fucking collaborating.
He doesn't even collaborate with Kim. I like these in white. I think these would look so dope in the summertime in white if you could keep them white.
Well, they're rubber. I mean, I think you can.
Well, I know, but I just feel like even, like the soles of my shoes, like
That's
those are
true.
white, and they still like get all fucked up. So you could get yourself like a little magic, what is that, Mr. Clean magic eraser? Those things work wonders. So you'd need one of those to keep them this white, but they would look amazing. I mean, but also part of the reason they look amazing is like, look at this model's legs. She has legs for days.
I was going to ask you, can we just dress like this for Halloween, you and I? Can that be our costume?
Yeah, I'll be the guy in the front who's wearing the sweatshirt and the sweatpants, please.
I kind of had it the other way around.
But while I was looking at this story, I was scrolling through BuzzFeed, and they are reporting that, okay, so you know that Kim got kidnapped and robbed, not kidnapped, but she got taken hostage and robbed in Paris maybe last year. Was that only 1 year ago? Maybe 2 years ago.
I feel like it was longer, but
I do too.
I don't
have been talking about
any
it forever.
Fucking idea.
So since that,
I think she was off of social media for like a year after it happened.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like
or
maybe
is
it was
a social
2 years
media year really only like 2 weeks?
That is the truth. Time is different in the land of social media. That is the God's honest. So ever since the Parisian robbery and hostage holding, Kim has upped her security team tremendously.
As she should.
So
terrifying.
Apparently they were at her house the other day.
She probably thought she was going to die that day.
She probably did.
That's really fucking scary.
It's pretty terrifying. As she did that, and I was reading about this article where her mom, there are always cameras at all their houses because of the Keeping Up the Kardashians machine or whatever. But apparently her mom came downstairs at Kim's house, and like at a time that she wasn't supposed to, and Kim's security team tackled her to the ground and nearly broke her neck. She ended up in the hospital with a severe neck injury.
I did not hear about this.
Yeah, they kept it under wraps during the filming of KUWTK. KUWTK, because they wanted to use it as a teaser for the new season. So the new season is coming out, and they're teasing it with this thing about Kris Jenner being rushed to the hospital because of her neck injury from Kim's security team.
That's
so
messed up.
Life is tough for Kris Jenner these days.
Well, you know what? I will go on record. I will keep saying it. And you know what? Watching Succession will just be more evidence of this. Mm-hmm. Life is tough for rich people. It's just in a different way we don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, I learned a long time ago that I am so grateful I didn't grow up in a rich family because they tell you who you're supposed to be, where you're supposed to be. You have to fit into other people's ideals. You have to, I mean, really, you have to be one of the family.
Right.
Which, when we talk about pose, I have a very big positive spin on. But there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of loss of identity and never forming of identity in big, rich families. And I do think the Kardashians do suffer from that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of downsides to living how they're living. I would not trade the money for it, not for a minute.
Well, and this week they just announced that Kylie is a billionaire with a B. So she is actually the richest member of the Kardashian family, which is strange to me. I mean, I don't know if it's strange to me or not. I really don't watch the show very often. Occasionally I'll catch one here or there because I want to like at least have some fodder for this. But like I do recall that in the early years, like, you know, when she and her sister Kendall were like 10 and 12, like they were all still kind of regular-ish people, rich people, but regular-ish people. Yeah. And now they really are like in this upper echelon of like truly one percenters.
Yeah.
And like how strange and just like surreal that might be, you know?
Yeah.
And I agree with you that life is different. I mean, I just can't imagine living with the kind of fear, with that kind of fear of like something that, you know, regardless of how you feel about Kim Kardashian, it'd be terribly traumatic to be taken hostage and robbed in the way that she was. And so like to have that still permeate your life and feel like you and to require, not feel like you require, but to actually require a huge full on security detail all the time would be just so bizarre, isolating too, I think. So anyway, I don't know. That's just what's going on with the Kardashians. But don't let it keep you from buying a pair of Kanye Crocs because those were pretty dope.
I wish they were affordable for me.
How much are they?
I don't know. I'm sure they're at least $500.
I will say
Google it.
One of the things I like about them is that they are kind of streamlined. Like one of the things that's kind of like a turn off about Crocs is that they're like clown shoes.
Right.
Well, they have the big white toe box, although that's why they're supposed to be comfortable.
Right. But here's what I think. I think this photo makes them look good. They're edgy. It's like a play on the Bound video. But picture those on me, my friend.
I mean, with a little pair of shorts, they'd look so cute on you. I think so.
I don't think they would.
I think they would.
And
I'm here for it.
And I certainly couldn't wear them to the dog park.
I'd love to wear them in gold.
Oh, that just like hurt my face. Oh,
you can't unsee it. It's going to fuck with your Instagram algorithm.
Yeah. Why are you doing this to me?
I don't know. Because I'm going to move us into a worst nightmares story and I wanted to get you in the right mindset.
Okay. Thank you.
File this under worst nightmares. We talked about some worst nightmares kind of stuff last week, but this one's right up there for me. A Russian lab containing smallpox and Ebola exploded last week. Vox is reporting this story. I mean, this is just the setup for some kind of awful horror film. That's all I have. I mean, that's really, I don't have much more on this story, but like, what the fuck? I mean, Ebola has been I have always had a little bit of a fear of that because I feel like in the 90s that movie Outbreak
it was terrifying.
Was really this is like
our pre-Halloween podcast clearly because we're bringing up all these terrifying things. Thank you.
Do what I can to give you nightmares and entertain you at the same time.
Yes, Outbreak was
I didn't watch it. Did you watch it?
Yes.
How old were you?
Way too young to watch it.
I know, because I think I was maybe 12 or 14, and even just seeing the commercials, the people in the hazmat suits, I was like,
yes.
Good.
Hemorrhagic diseases are not good.
Yeah, no way. No,
especially not portrayed on, the
big screen
in a dramatic way.
I will say that I love Juliana Margulies, who I believe was in Outbreak.
Yes.
Because I just loved her on ER. She actually is one of those women that can do no wrong for me. I also love her in The Good Wife.
I always wanted to watch The Good Wife, and I never did. But it's something that I heard good things about, and I thought that it would be up my alley for enjoyment.
Yeah, it is one of those ones. There's like endless seasons. There's 8 seasons of it or something, and now there's a spinoff, and it's an hour-long show. So you don't have time in your life for it, but someday you might.
No, I've been invested in The Sopranos since like January.
Oh my God. I love that. And now you're watching Pose.
Yeah, and I like it.
1,000% obsessed with that.
It's good for me.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
I had a feeling it would be good for you.
Yes.
We are not going to do a ruthless review of it because we're not. But I mean, that show is like, it's a roller coaster. I am crying every episode. I'm laughing every episode. I'm like wishing I was there every episode. It's giving me pause to like really evaluate my level of inclusivity. It's always good for me to check back in on that. I feel like I am truly an inclusive person, and I feel like I'm always like, I'm having a thing come along with me. But sometimes, it's good for me to kind of just check that and see where I'm at on my inclusivity and stuff. I don't know. It's It's a feel good one for me.
Yeah, I mean, it is a fairy tale. Let's be honest.
Of course. Not all. It doesn't all. You don't get kicked out of your parents' house, sleep on a park bench, and then get adopted into a house and then go to ballet school. That doesn't happen every day.
Yeah, but it's by the I guess the creator of Glee. So, but I'm grateful for that, because my fear with going into it was that I don't like watching people be brutalized.
Right.
And I was worried because it is set in the 80s and it is the transgender community in the 80s.
Yes.
I was really worried that it would be something that I wouldn't be able to watch, and it's not.
I will tell you that I do feel like that subtext is kind of there for me, where there is still some suspense, especially because so many of them are sex workers, that I'm like, oh my God, is there going to be some horrible scene where somebody is brutalized? I don't know. I don't know if that's like some weird PTSD that I have around. Like, it's kind of like, anytime I drive down, I've watched so many movies where a car gets T-boned out of nowhere that when I am a passenger in a car these days, I feel like I'm always like, ooh, I'm just a little jumpy about it.
That was a scene that it was like they must have come out with like some certain technology where they could film that scene, because then all of a sudden there were like 14 movies, sitcoms, and commercials that included that scene, like T-bone. All within the same 2 years.
Yes.
And now it's kind of gone.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that that's gone.
Me too. Thank you that has passed.
Yeah, but so that's why I can't watch The Deuce on HBO, because we tried to watch the first episode and I was like, I can't watch this. There are way too many women, sex workers being brutalized. And I'm like, I can't watch this. I don't want anything to do with this.
Yeah, I won't watch that either.
Yeah. So I'm grateful. So I do think that, I want to say Glow. It's not Glow. It's Pose, but but Pose is a lot like Glow.
Yeah,
it's true. But it's just a different setting. But it is a fairy tale, and I'm really hoping. I'm just started the scene where they're going to this woman who gives discount implants, and I'm terrified. And I thought I don't know if I can watch. I don't know if I can watch this.
As far as I'm through the first season, and I will tell you, you'll be fine on that.
Okay. I kind of thought I might be.
I also got nervous about that too. Like, oh my God, but it's all good.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I was like, don't shoot silicone in her.
I got to tell you that planning the show, I did not in a million years think that talking about smallpox and Ebola explosion would get us to Pose, and I'm just grateful that it did. That is so amazing. Yes. We're going to move on to the next story, which is about artificial intelligence, which is another thing we are serving artificial intelligence stories on this podcast.
Just look to us if you have any questions about AI. We are your people.
We're your people. We're basically experts. We'll just we'll bring it to you in like common terms, nomenclature.
Everything we make AI relatable. Holler.
Okay, so are you familiar with Azelia Banks?
Just a little bit.
Okay, I'm only familiar with Azelia Banks because I know that she and Iggy Azalea have beef.
Yeah, well, I think that Azelia Banks has a good mechanism of getting her name in the news.
Okay, which is probably to be mad at.
Which is probably what's going on here.
Probably what's going on here. Okay, so here's the story. Azelia Banks and Elon Musk are feuding.
Oh, good. Good for them.
Here is why.
Look at his photo. He is creepy AF.
I 1000% agree.
He's not right.
There's something. He's probably operating by AI. There's probably an AI robot in there. To me, it looks like he's had some work done on his eyes, actually, to be totally frank. He looks a little puffy from maybe using too many pills and or booze, and he looks like he's had his eyes done.
I could go with that.
Yeah, that's kind of where I land on that. And he kind of always looks like, there he's like laid, he's like kicked back or whatever.
Are you sure it's not just that they had to pull the skin back over the robot face?
That's absolutely what it is.
It could be that.
All right, I had to get an entirely different note. I actually had to screenshot two parts of this story because I wanted to be able to tell you the whole thing and I couldn't memorize it. So here is I'm going to give you the backstory and then we're going to tell you why they're in the news again. So apparently last August, Azelia Banks was invited to Elon Musk's home by the singer Grimes. Are you familiar with Grimes?
No,
I'm not. Grimes was Musk's girlfriend at the time and invited Azelia Banks to come over to record a single. When Banks arrived, she was unable to meet with Grimes and stepped into the middle of a shitstorm. Grimes was busy consoling Musk over his inability to log off Twitter. So he had just sent a tweet suggesting he could take Tesla private at $420 per share, and he hadn't secured funding to do so. And had secured funding to do so even though he hadn't, a move that launched an SEC investigation into whether he committed an act of security fraud. So Elon Musk is part AI, part robot, but he does not know how to use Twitter. And he was like having a fucking meltdown because he had tweeted this thing about how he was going to take his company public at $420 a share because haha, dude, 420, and couldn't undo it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, seriously, look at this guy. This guy's a billionaire and he's like basically ruined his life over a stupid 420 tweet.
And he's dating like 20-year-old pop stars.
So stupid.
No.
I just feel like I hadn't even thought about how fucking stupid this was until right this moment.
Yeah.
This guy is dumb with a Z on the end of it. It is so ridiculous. Okay, so over the next few days, Azelia Banks posted numerous updates on Instagram featuring long roasts of the couple, text messages between Grimes and Banks, along with the revelation that Musk had either smoked weed or tripped on LSD before sending the tweet that launched the SEC investigation. She also accused Musk of stealing her phone, and he claims that he never even met her, and then said that he did see her at his house but didn't know who she was.
So all this tells me is Elon Musk is on a downward spiral.
Big time. He is headed towards rock bottom. So here's what happened now. So that was a year ago.
Oh,
so what's happening today is that Azelia Banks revealed in an Instagram post her new mixtape, Young Rapunzel with an X2, features a song telling a story of an ungrateful technocrat whose ego becomes too big for him and he becomes publicly executed in the year 3030. And in the video, she has an Elon Musk likeness who gets his head cut off, basically. So I just feel like this bitch, you're right. She's got a strategy for keeping her name in the media. I'm not sure if I want her to listen to this podcast or not, because I'd like for her to like launch us to stardom with her. But that's also like pretty crazy, I think. Like, he's on his way down to the bottom. You don't have to reignite this stupid feud to like have a video or whatever. I don't know. So anyway, this was like just a crazy story.
It's probably like 20% battle of egos and 80% getting, trending. Trending on the Twitter.
Yeah, trending on the tweets.
Yeah, good job, Azelia. You did it again.
You did it.
Did it again.
And there are two last stories that we have to talk about because these are pretty funny. First of all, you are a long time, I don't know how I should say this. You don't love Postmates. They've done you wrong.
Fuck Postmates.
They have done you wrong a couple of times.
I do not have the Postmates app on my phone.
No, not even.
We actually took all delivery apps off of our phone.
Oh, why did you do that?
Because we're on a budget.
Yeah,
because
so smart.
My husband and I have goals. And combined, we are going to reach them.
Yes.
With our joint checking account.
The power of we.
Yes, friends.
I love it.
1 year in it and 1 month into marriage.
Yeah.
Joint checking account.
Took me and Jeff that long too.
We're going to get... And with Joey, Mr. Practicality.
Yeah, he's very practical.
Managing my money.
Yeah.
I'm going to be legitimately wealthy one day.
I love it. Mm-hmm. I think that's incredible. So you have never... Postmates did you wrong. That's where I'm going with this.
Yeah, but... Overall, these meal delivery services are a fucking ripoff.
Yeah.
Make your own fucking food.
That's true.
Make your own fudding food.
Go to the grocery store.
Stop
make your
being
food.
lazy.
Yeah.
You'll get fat too.
Also,
delete those apps.
Stop drinking so that when you're hungover, you don't have to be hungover to order this stupid food. I mean, right? This all of this. The entire food delivery culture relies on like hungover sick people.
Yeah, yeah, or drunk people. Or high. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Lizzo, you're in good company because Lizzo's mad at Postmates too.
Oh, that's right. I read that on your text.
That's right. She had a complaint to file with Postmates. And on Monday, the 31-year-old singer tweeted at the food delivery service, aligning one of their couriers, calling the courier out, the Postmates courier out on her Twitter platform. She later had to delete it because she nearly put the person's life in danger because the Lizzo hive or whatever her crew is. But she was mad because she thought the courier had eaten her food.
I mean, I've had some trouble with Postmates, but nothing like that.
You have. She was sure that the courier had stolen the food that she had ordered. So I don't know if that actually panned out.
How would you even come to that conclusion?
Maybe you got the wrong thing or maybe you thought you ordered 6 things and only 5 arrived.
But why would you think that before just thinking there was an order error?
I don't know. I guess because because
you've never had a real job and you don't know how shit actually works.
I was going to say, I feel like I have read studies that say that delivery service couriers do sometimes eat people's food on the way to deliver it.
There's studies.
I can have Fred Bushy fact check that one because that I might have made up.
Well, I need to know the p-value to know if it's legitimate.
That's true, you do. And then finally, in our final kind of pop culture story of the day, this is a pretty funny one. It's related to making your own food, but KFC has partnered with Portland advertising firm, the illustrious Wieden Kennedy, to release a I Love You, Colonel Sanders.
Wieden Kennedy has the most toxic masculinity in at least the state of Portland. And everything they do is so fucking just okay. Go on.
So they paired up with an anime animator to make Colonel Sanders, to give Colonel Sanders kind of like a sexy Asian makeover. I mean, he's got very sharp angles on his cheeks and chin there, and they created a game where a dating simulator where users try to romance the Colonel.
Okay.
Now, before the show aired, I was looking for like, what do you mean romance? What is this even? But I can't find.
Is it like The Bachelor?
I don't know if it's like you have to bring them chicken ingredients or like.
Yeah. I mean, how do you romance an anime version of the Colonel?
All right. Here is what this says. The game dubbed "I Love You, Colonel Sanders!" ! A finger-licking good dating simulator. I mean,
that's hot.
That could not sound more like it belongs on a vibrator or something.
I mean,
I don't understand.
That's my kind of porn.
Features a young, handsome version of Colonel Sanders drawn as a Japanese anime character. The game will be available on Stream as a free offering, whether your dating preference is PC or Mac. There's nothing else. I don't understand how this game works. Although here's another picture of him. I don't know. Oh, that's not going to show up. I need Sandy to see it.
I think it'll focus if you. Oh, maybe not. Let me see.
Here's another one of him like lunging over as an overlord. Off the cliff.
Imagine the Lion King where Simba's held up, except it's like ice.
Except it's Colonel Sanders.
And he has like a magical staff in his hand, and he's wearing he's very svelte.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's eaten much fried chicken in his life, frankly.
Tall and thin. I mean, his thigh is like the same width as his like calf. Yeah, he's good looking.
So I don't know how you woo him in this dating simulator. I don't know what that means, but I'm kind of curious to find out.
What is that behind him? There's like this weird monster that's like fat and naked with like their
let me see.
Like their flannels open. What is that?
Oh, that's like he looks. You're right. That looks like I don't know what that looks like an evil villain. There's a villain behind him for sure.
Wearing an open flannel.
Yeah, but he's like, I think the villain behind him has a robe on and has his hands like this behind his head.
Oh, so did Colonel lock him up?
Maybe behind some chicken. There's some chicken between the villain.
That is. It's not the rock from the Lion King. It's a big chicken wing.
It's a big chicken wing that he's scaling.
All right. I feel like I just have to play this.
I do too. I can't tell you how badly I wish it was available.
I will woo the Colonel.
It's 2 days.
I will.
In 2 days. Countdown begins. Hit the countdown clock now.
I'll see if I still got it.
Girl, you got it. You got it. All right. So the main question that I wanted us to talk about today, we got about 20 minutes left in the show. I was looking through, last week we got our kind of like dating and relationship topic from a subreddit on dating and relationships. And I went back there this week to kind of see what else I could find. First of all, that place is like a fucking minefield. I don't even know. If you are bored, you don't have enough time on your hands, but someday when you do, not only should you watch The Good Wife, but you should also go on the subreddit forum on dating and relationships because you will just you'll die. You'll just die.
I don't want to die.
Yeah, you don't want to when you're ready.
I want to live.
I want to live. So the subreddit on dating and relationships that I found that I thought was interesting that I thought we could speak to is this. What's the quickest way that someone has fucked up their chances of dating you? So it's almost like, although Sandy and I are married and we're out of the dating game, yes, we did date for a long time.
We did.
And there are people who fucked up bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I started thinking about this one, and I think one of the quickest ways that a guy can fuck up his chances of dating with me is coming to the table with an attitude of self-pity and
yeah.
Nice guys finish last. I feel like in the late 90s and 2000s, I ran into a number of these like friend-zoned guys or whatever that were like, oh, I'm just such a nice guy. Me. Like, no, thank you. Bye.
That's interesting. We could dig into that a little bit.
Yeah. It was before I was healthy enough.
I was going to say, I feel like there might be some intimacy issues there. Poor guys probably weren't really doing anything wrong except being nice.
There's something different than being nice and then being whiny about being nice.
No, I guess.
You. So that is,
hear you.
I'm not saying
victim
that.
mentality.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I feel like there will be plenty of things that we talk about in this little segment that will be no-brainers. And maybe we'll just list off a bunch of no-brainer items. But it just was like that mentality is just such a huge turnoff, right? I mean, it just is what it is for me.
I mean, it's hard for me to even answer that question because I've got like kind of two I have two different, very separate dating experiences. One when I was very unhealthy, and in that time, there's really nothing anybody could do to ruin their chances of dating me. I had I was just kind of going with the wind. You like me? Okay. You like, okay. I was just kind of rolling with the wind, and it didn't matter. And then in my more healthy learning and growing experiences, it was all about learning and growing. And so like I really did in my second half of my life date like a lot of really cool people. Like they weren't available or they weren't right for me, but they were like really cool people. Yeah. So like I remember one bad date where I showed up on time and he had already ordered, and of course that was a no-brainer. You're done, of course. Like, and we've already talked about, yes, you are buying me a meal when we go on a date, so we don't need to go into that. But it's like, so it's really hard for me to find like, how did you like what was the question?
The question is,
like,
what's
ruining
the
your
quickest
chances
way, for someone to ruin their chances?
So I guess what I can only think about is when I was in my healthier era, like who I wouldn't date. Yeah. And you'll ruin your chances of dating me if you're fucking separated and not divorced. Yeah. You married. Yeah. We're not dating.
That's funny because I was thinking about that when you were saying, I also have the same thing, like kind of a before and after version of myself. So there was, in the before version, I would date anyone. Didn't matter if you were married or if you were seeing someone else or if you involved, and actually to some extent it was even better for me at that stage because then my shit wasn't on blast. Nothing, like I didn't have anything to lose. You weren't available anyway, right? But in the aftermath of having done some work and transformed my perspective on men and relationships, it's like, oh yeah, the biggest way to ruin your chances, I think, is like this loser attitude of self-pity and victim mentality, and also not single.
Right. And not single. Like when it came down to it, I had my periscope out for men who were really playing the field. I didn't want to date a guy who was out there just to date a bunch of women. Yes,
that's another good one.
And so like the minute I kind of got wind of that, it wasn't like, oh, fuck you. It was just like, yeah, that's not going to work for me. Yep. That's not going to work for me. I understand that there's other people who are out there doing that and they can do that, but that's not going to work for me.
Right, because you were ready for a relationship.
Right. I was ready for somebody who like actually wanted to get to know me. Yeah. And the other thing that I guess just came to mind is, there are a lot of men out there that I don't think a lot of women realize that really don't like women. Yeah. They want to date women, they want to be with women, and they even want to marry women, but they don't like women. And so that is a really good way you could ruin your chances of dating me. It's a really like ninja level thing to sniff out, but once you know the signs and symptoms of a man who hates women, it's very clear. We don't want.
We don't want.
And so like for me, like one really easy way is, what is his relationship with his mother like? Yeah. And it tells you everything. And don't put your blinders on here. Don't lie to yourself. If this man hates his mom, run for the hills. Yeah,
because he's going to have a complicated, if not hate for, he's going to have a complicated relationship with women if he hates his mom.
Yeah, I mean, we could dance around it and put pretty words on it, but because we don't like to say the word hate in 2019. But the truth is, there are men who hate women. It's called a misogynist. Yeah. And misogyny looks many different ways. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you could be with a mild misogynist and you will be miserable and terribly unhappy. So just don't start making excuses for him. Yeah. Walk away, and then you don't have to get 2 years into a relationship where you're dating a misogynist and you don't know why you're so unhappy all the time.
Yeah. No, I love that. You know what I mean? I feel like it is a true sign of maturity and wholeness when a man loves women as opposed to engages in misogyny. Right. One of the ways that I know that Jeff loves women, he has like utmost respect for women. He is always so nurturing and kind. There was actually another example that now I can't think of, which was the big example. But he has always had a love for like, there is nothing about a woman's body that makes him squeamish. There is nothing he will not do as far as like tampons, periods, he does not like, I feel like that's a huge red flag. Yeah. If you are dating a guy who is even remotely squeamish by farting, blood, periods, period sex, bye. Because he's not grown and he might be in like, I don't know if I'm like feeling cautious about labeling him a misogynist, but I feel like it's all part of being human, right? So like, what's the point of, so I just feel like.
Yeah, well, that's why I said there's varying degrees of misogyny. Yes. So we say misogynist because we're thinking of the Me Too movement. We're thinking about the worst degree of misogyny, but like, this is where we need to like deeply understand that there are shades and degrees of it, just like everything else. It's just like narcissism.
Right. Yep.
You know, so like, are we afraid of labeling people narcissists today? We're not.
No.
So
I'll call anyone a fucking narcissist.
right, but there's shades and degrees, and so I'm not afraid to say misogynist because this is real life, my friends. This is my real experience, and this is like some truths that keep people in really, really bad relationships.
Yeah.
And if you want to stay in a bad relationship, fine. Don't fucking call me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm on one.
That coffee kicked in. It's the eyelash cup. Oh, I like it. And something that I think is really aligned with that as well is that when I started dating after I had when I was ready for a relationship, I'd done some work, I got healthy, I was starting to date, I set some boundaries with men. And there were certain men that did not respect the boundaries that I set. And like, that was the quickest way to fuck up your chances to date me. That's a huge, like, it took me, and regardless of how anyone felt about my boundaries, which is very similar to the concept of like expectations and standards.
Right.
If you want to push back with me or try to debate with me about these boundaries that I've got, I did a lot of work to get where I am. I decided with my crew of women, my people who have my back, that these were going to be my boundaries around dating, and they're not up for negotiation. So like, if you think you're so bad that you want to negotiate with me, bye. Like, we're done here. Yeah. I'll never forget that I went on a Tinder date right before I met Jeff. I went on a Tinder date with a guy who I went to the park. He made me dinner at the park, which was like a little weird, but it was summertime and like, I don't know. It was like,
he cooked it.
He cooked it. And then we ended up at his house. I can't remember if it was a second date at his house. Honestly, or if it was the same date. I think it was the same date. So after we had dinner in the park, he was like, why don't you come to my house? I'm like, all right, yeah, whatever. So I knew what I was getting into. We go to his house, but I had told him like, look, I'm not really interested in having sex. Like, I'm fine. You know, let's make out a little bit. This was before my 4 dates, no kissing rule that I had decided on, that boundary. And we started kind of messing around a little bit. And he's like really putting on the full court press to fuck. And I was like, listen, I'm not interested. You know, and he was like, why? What's the worst that can happen? Okay. First of all,
I remember this story.
If you have to ask me what's the worst that can happen if we're going to bone, I mean, that is like what kind of position are you putting yourself in here? Like, that I'm going to like give in? Like, how good is that going to feel? You know what I mean? Like, you convinced me or something. And secondly, like, lots of horrible things could happen. So, you know, the good news was like, I had grown in my confidence and my ability to like hold fast on this boundary. And I like walked out the door, right? After I yelled at him about the fact that he didn't want him to murder me and stuff me in an oil drum after he had fucked me, which was like maybe an extreme reaction. Perhaps an extreme, but I mean, it was like
ask questions later.
It was one of the most extreme examples of somebody pushing on a boundary that I had felt in a long time, and and so for me, that's another one, and I think all of these are really killing this topic.
That happened to me. My kind of boundary was I wasn't going to sleep with anybody until we had a commitment. Mm-hmm. That was my boundary. Mm-hmm. And we were exclusive. Mm-hmm. And I went
That's a good boundary to have.
And I went on a date with, I went on 3 dates. And so the third date, so we went to a play and then I don't remember what the second date was, but it was a date out. Clearly it wasn't memorable. The third date, he wanted to cook me dinner at his house. Mm-hmm. And so like, I knew like, okay, third date, this is appropriate. Right. I don't want to have sex with him, but you know, I should probably be open to going to his house so he could cook me dinner. Right. He had a really nice house, so I thought I'd go. And I went and we had dinner and it was very nice. And he was doing the same thing that you described. And I was like, no, I don't want to do this. Right. I don't want to have sex tonight. I didn't go into deeper detail than that. I just said, no, I don't want to. And his reaction was, it is our third date. That's what he said. And I was like, no. And so here's what, we never like spoke again. We had some like uncomfortable text interaction after that. He told me I was crazy. Oh my God. He told me I was crazy. Don't let no fucking man tell you you're crazy. Yeah, that's what they do. So here's what, and here's my lesson from that. I've actually learned this lesson before, but anytime any man tells me that his ex is crazy, that's a red flag. Yes. That's a red flag. That might be the most valuable piece of information that came out of this little conversation. Yes. That's the fucking truth. I love that. She's not crazy. She's not crazy. He is. He didn't get crazy. What he wanted. Yeah. Or he made her crazy. He made her crazy. She's crazy because she's confused because he's not available. Yeah. I love it. Mm-hmm. Wrap that up with a bow on it. Yeah. Give it to you for Christmas. Mm-hmm. Love it. Well, I think that's great. I feel like subreddit has all of these questions for us and we are like just knocking them out of the park. So
That's all I've got for blowing your chances, because really it comes down to some pretty simple things.
Yeah.
You know?
It's true.
So we are sending lots of love, light, and gold from Portland. Don't forget.
Stay vigilant.
Yeah.
What miracles of science and engineering it took to recover this gold